The NBA held their annual All-Star Weekend with a bunch of different festivities, a bunch of different skills competitions. The legendary dunk competition that has precipitously fallen off, and not even just recent years, but in the past decade or two. It's like Vince Carter kind of shut down the game back in the cut, but that's neither here nor there. But they decided to add an additional competition over the top of this in order to try to bolster the decades-long burden that they've shackled to themselves with the WNBA pitting together the most proficient three-point shooter in all of the NBA's illustrious history in Steph Curry against Sabrina Ionescu, big old Ionescu, because she took the L in this competition, because of course, man. But this was always going to be a negative value proposition for Steph Curry, because, okay, he wins the competition. He ended up draining 29 three-pointers as opposed to Sabrina's 26, okay, good, woo, cool, you beat a girl. That's all you're going to end up getting, okay? Your accomplishments are going to end up getting diminished, or if you end up losing, well, oh, look at that, oh, I don't know why nobody's watching the game, just a whole bunch of sexists that are out there, that the WNBA is even better than the NBA. It's not even a matter of genetic differences, okay? You can shoot the ball as better or as good or even better than the men. And I'll be completely honest, conspiracy theories of maybe Steph was holding back aside, because that guy is going to be able to drain a three-point shot anywhere that he so desires within a half-court parameter. But let's also keep it a buck that the woman was using a smaller ball, a smaller rim, as opposed to what Steph Curry was out there doing with regulation-size ball, regulation-size rim. So the deck was always going to be stacked against him, and there's gonna come a point where eventually they're not gonna have Steph Curry up there still at somewhat of the height of his powers. They're gonna get a lesser three-point shooter, which, let's be fair, the rest of the league is, and eventually the WNBA is gonna take the lead and win a competition as is stacked against it as the NBA is. But you play woke games, you win woke prizes, and you invited this wolf in through the front door, and now you gotta deal with these consequences. But let's get to the news side before we get to the outrage side, shall we? Steph Curry caught fire just in time. Yes, just in time. He definitely didn't break a couple of those shots. Couldn't have possibly been the case. In time to defeat Sabrina Ionescu. See, that's enough of a story right there. Like, outside of the one that got thrown into a Russian jail cell, how many active WNBA players can anybody name? Active. Like, you can name, like historical ones. Like what? Candace Parker, Becky Hammond. Don't ask me to name a third, but you can name, like, famous ones. You might be able to name a couple of teams. And again, I won't waste everybody's time here, just troving through the treasure trove of information that I have when it comes to the WNBA. Trust me, bro. But Ionescu shooting with WNBA basketballs from the NBA three-point line tallied a score of 26, as much as any player had in any round in the preceding Starry three-point contest. See, they got to try to get their digs in there somewhere. But yeah, you were using a smaller basketball in a larger rim. Come on, man. You had every opportunity, and you blew it. She made her first 7 shots and went 8 for 9 on the money balls, but slowed down at the end with a rally, only making 5 of her final 10 shots. Curry had 2 perfect racks, going 5 from 5 from both the left and the right wing. His final rack was his money rack in the right corner. Needed to go 3 for 5 to win. He missed the first shot, but then drained the final 4. Did he have fewer shots to end up winning? Holy. Missed 1 shot. Unbelievable. Each shot made the challenge. Yes, triggered the donation from State Farm. I don't know. I don't really need to see the NBA pat themselves on the back. But Ionescu challenged Curry, yes, to a three-point competition after she recorded 37 points out of a possible 40 in the final round of the Starry WNBA three-point contest at AT&T WNBA All-Star Game 2023. I seen that clip go around, and yeah, she was draining those shots, and yeah, no, excellent shooting from a female basketball player. But you have to add that caveat because it's a fundamentally different game. You cannot compare the two. Like, hell, back when Serena Williams was, at least being based when it came to her interviews and wasn't trying to make everything about her and her race, she was honest about female tennis being a completely different game to male tennis, and that she would get skunked by even low-ranking men on the court because That's just biological fact, man. Hand-eye coordination, physical capabilities. You're never going to see a chick, okay? Even as stout of a character as Brittany Griner is, what is she, 6'9" or 6'10"? She had delusions back when DeMarcus Cousins was actually at his full boogie capabilities. She thought that she could beat him in a one-on-one competition. Like DeMarcus Cousins, for those of you who haven't heard that name in that's a name I haven't heard in a long time. All of 6'10", pushing 300 pounds when he was healthy, you know, it being accurately compared to a young Shaq. It's false dichotomous competitions like this that stoke the flames of delusion better than anything out of the media or any of the pundits possibly could. That is, except for the woke-ass dorks on television. You got Kenny the Jet Smith, who is a very valued voice on the NBA on TNT panel that also has, yes, the previously mentioned Shaq and the spotty commentary of, Charles Barkley, who can be right on a bunch of things but then just go completely off base on other things. But it's probably the most highly regarded professional sports roundtable that gets adequate mass media coverage on a regular basis. And after this little, exhibition competition took place over the All-Star weekend, well, Kenny chimed in and, well, it ruffled a bunch of feathers from people who just can't reconcile with reality. NBA analyst Kenny Smith is trying to explain away his comments about New York Liberty star Sabrina, whatever, that were met with backlash. An NBA on TNT panelist found himself in some hot water after making a remark during the Steph Curry versus Ionescu three-point competition that some fans had deemed condescending towards the loser. Smith had been making a convoluted point about the distance in which the two pro basketball players were shooting from from his broadcast partner and former NBAer Reggie Miller. Well, it's Reggie Miller, okay? It's a guy who knows a thing or two about three-pointers, but just like several other commentators, might be able to accurately shoot a basketball, but he can definitely miss the point in other arenas. According to you, you want her to be playing with dolls. That's what Reggie Miller said. Wait, what? And there's nothing wrong with playing with dolls, Smith retorted a few minutes later. It's like, what are we talking about? All right. Awkward exchange drew a negative reaction on social media, but Smith claimed during an appearance on the Stephen A. Smith show, Yuck, that the controversy was much ado about nothing. Most people who know basketball understand what I was talking about. Actually, I was advocating for her more than anything else. Oh, watch the back pedal in real time, because basketball is muscle memory. So he practices from one range, she practices from another. Yeah, fair enough. I can't really see where he's going with that analogy, but that just could be inside basketball terminology that I'm not familiar with. There's even a study, yes, a guy who throws darts. I'm very familiar. We're all very familiar with the concept of muscle memory, okay? Why is Curry getting the advantage to shoot at his lines? That's an advantage. It's not gender. It's not genetics. Yeah, but she's also getting a smaller ball as well. So, Curry and Ionescu had been facing one another for the first time in the WNBA versus WNBA three-point challenge of the weekend. Curry just edged out. Yeah, he missed one shot. She missed four. Not exactly an edging out. It's not exactly a blowout either because, well, let's keep it a buck. Put this in a game scenario. Is she hitting 26 out of 30 shots? Yeah, I don't think so. Is Steph Curry hitting 29 out of 30 shots? I don't think so, but I think that completion percentage, even with comparable competition, I know where I'm putting my money. While addressing the comments about dolls, Smith was the first to... said that his first thought had been about what issue was there about playing with dolls when Miller made the joke. Now, you should play with dolls. You can do sports. Okay, but yes, the former NBA player and current analyst pointed out people are quick to judge the situation without knowing more details. Yeah, I've seen the details. I don't know what you were going for, but then at the same time, it's your responsibility. It is your job, your profession to add analysis to the commentary. And, well, you just... I think without having to actually say it, he ended up saying that, yeah, this isn't really a fair competition because we all know that the WNBA is a lesser game than the NBA. You're putting a certified first ballot Hall of Famer, and I understand that the NBA's Hall of Fame, its barrier for entry is pretty goddamn low, but Steph Curry is a name that is synonymous with modern basketball for better or for worse, and you're putting him up against a chick that you can't even pronounce her last name. Like, what are we doing here, guys? WNBA has never made money. It has never even sniffed profitability. Nobody goes to watch this crap, and trying to put this on a big stage, good for her. I couldn't hit 26 shots, even with the female basketball at a lowered rim. Okay, I couldn't do any of that stuff. I'm not trying to take away from her talent. It's just a different game. This is chess against checkers. This is ice hockey to field hockey. This is American football to professional cooking. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.